For the ensembles of the Philippine team or Team Philippines in the opening ceremony of the 33rd SEA Games, visionary designer Abel Bacudio teamed up with the DOST's Philippine Textile Research Institute. That's to create a sustainable fabric called Piñavel. Piñavel is a high-performance textile that matched perfectly with Bacudio's patriotic collection called Laro ng Lahi. Piñavel is made of Filipino indigenous fibers such as pineapple, bamboo, abaca, banana, and water hyacinth. Abel chose the textile for its feather-light texture and resilience. Here we feature sustainable initiatives one story at a time. Welcome to CEStainability. Tonight, we speak to Philippine Textile Research Institute Director Julius Leaño Jr. Hello, Julius. Thank you for joining us here on CEStainability. We will talk about sustainability.
Yes. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Yes. Walk us through the process of how you and Abel collaborated to make this beautiful collection for the SEA Games.
Well, that was about 2 years ago. He was looking for us. I was looking for him because we were about to also do something, with the designers. We work with the designers, the creative industry, because we want designer inputs in research and development. So, well, finally, we met each other and we pitched the idea of using natural fiber blended textiles to him. Exactly how he's moving his collections now. So, yeah, that was the start. And then we started to move.
So these are all natural. It's a natural fiber.
Yes,
walang synthetic.
We're blending it already with natural fibers. Yeah, natural fiber content na yan. Of course, cotton is still part of the fabric. So it's part of this whole narrative, of shifting our consumer behavior from the highly dependent one on polyester base, the quick, easy to handle fabrics to something that's more sustainable, something
and
more
also
Filipino.
That won't harm the environment.
Of course, yes, exactly.
So tell us how you came up with this material.
The story of the Philippine, we call it the Philippine tropical fabric, by the way. That's by law. It's named through a Republic Act. But the idea here is this is not a young technology. It's an old one. As early as the 70s, the Institute have already embarked on developing the blending of local natural fibers with, of course, the staple fibers and come up with fabric.
Yung Rami noon?
Rami is part of that story, of course, but we lost Rami. The story of Rami went to China and everything. So the substitute was pineapple. Pineapple, why? Because pineapple is an agricultural waste. As an agricultural byproduct. Banana is an agricultural byproduct. You don't plant them for the fiber, you plant them for the fruit. So after planting, what happens? So we get the fiber out from these materials. And no, that's the start of the sustainability concept. But in the 70s, that was not the motivation. The motivation was simply to find a substitute material for all of these materials that are flooding the market. So that was a start. And then, iterated, and then came Rami, came abaca, pineapple, banana. Now bamboo is part of the collection, and also saluyot. So the story gets even better as we move along.
And bamboo is supposed to be very soft, one of the softest.
Supposed to be, but that one is going through a very unsustainable way of processing. That's rayon technology. That's an old technology that uses a lot of chemicals. So that's why it comes up to be very silky. Because you'd say, actually, you cannot tell that to be bamboo anymore.
It is so silky and cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So
pero to achieve that, hindi sustainable.
Yes. But there's another approach, we call it the lyocell process, which we are exploring now for bamboo and so many other materials. Science gets into the picture. The bid for sustainability cannot just be a narrative. And that's why we are also anti-greenwashing, because it's plaguing the market, and we just have to label it properly. Bamboo, the bamboo that we're developing, you can really see the bamboo in the fabric. Well, you don't see the whole bamboo pole, but you see the fibers there. Under the microscope, it's still legitimately bamboo.
That's why you see the white here.
Yes.
That is...
Because the resistance of the fiber, I'm sounding scientific now, the resistance of the
fiber... We want to hear that.
The resistance of the fiber to dyes or to a certain dyeing technique distinguishes them from one another. So if you dye pineapple with banana, for example, you'll see the difference and how they uptake the dye. So that's exactly that gives the striations that you normally see in this fabric.
Yeah, so better than a synthetic fabric na walang...
Yeah, flat, right? Flat, dull, and dead. So,
Yeah.
but it's an evolving consumer. It's an evolving eye as well. So may fancy na rin tayo for something more natural.
I want to know if we stood out because in the SEA Games, kasi sustainable yung sustainable.
CEStainability.
Inari na eh.
Yeah.
Yung ano natin.
No, I think
uniforms.
I'm glad because you saw the one that's not actually colored, but that's because that's the one that's actually made of the Philippine tropical fabric. The bright ones, of course, are still trying to transition because these are still heavily on polyester and cotton, and of course
Like what you're
synthetic dyes.
wearing.
Yes,
That's Piñavel.
Yes, it's Piñavel. It's
From
hand-woven, but the materials is still a blend of cotton and polyester.
Oh, that's the irony, no?
Still the irony, but we are moving towards that direction. As I said, there are a lot of cotton materials that are available to the weavers now. Natural dyes is also available to the weavers. A good collection of one of the weaves in the Visayas has transitioned already from purely synthetic and flashy colors to something more muted and more regal. So it's not impossible.
I'm gonna be the party pooper here and ask about the cost of that. And even for like giving the weavers, for example, this pure thread made out of purely Philippine textures versus something that's like a poly cotton, as you call it. Would it be such a huge difference in price?
No, it's not. The good thing there is we're trying to support. The government is here to stimulate the market. Even train them back to weaving cotton again. These weavers have not woven cotton already in their lifetimes. Even the 101-year-old. Sanay na sila sa polyester, yes, and kahit yung galit na galit ka, hindi mapuputol yung polyester, but then you're shifting back to silk, you're shifting back to cotton. There's a lot of the skilling and upskilling that needs to be done there. And cost is a very arbitrary number. Cost, we only talk about it as material cost. But how about the cost in the environment? How about the cost? If I account all of these things to you, then I might be charging you more, right? But that's as part of the advocacy of the sustainability program. We want to make sure that we really capture the value. And, as you said, the one that appeared in the SEA Games is a narrative. Anong bang kwento ng tela na yun?
Alam
And we're
mo,
talking
this
about
is how
it, right?
we can distinguish the Philippines.
Yes, yeah.
It's our selling point.
It is.
Kung
I
yung
agree.
iba, sige, China, go
Yes,
ahead, do your synthetic things.
Yeah,
Diba?
we have the narrative. And the narrative is not just emotion-led. It's not just about culture. It's about the science as well. And then, of course, we have the material. A material that can really promise and prove that it can really function as such, because that's really important. And of course, the aesthetics. That's where the creative industry come in. The flair is also part
But
of
talk
the story.
about, in answer to the concern rin of Sean, the weaving machines that you provide, diba? Like lakat, which makes the
shoes.
the sneakers,
The sneakers.
made of piña.
Yes.
They use your facility.
No, they...
Mahal ba o paano?
Oh, no. That one is we call it a regional yarn production center. So normally, all of them are in Manila. So imagine if I am in Iloilo and I want to have access to yarns. Pupunta ka pa ng Manila. So we try to locate them strategically across the Philippines. All
How
over the
many
Philippines.
yarn?
We now
You
have
just
4.
opened one, right,
Come
sir?
again?
You opened one
Yes,
in
just
Ilocos Norte,
very recently in
a
Ilocos
regional
Norte.
yarn production innovation center.
Yes, in Ilocos Norte.
Magkano ang isang ganyan?
Nasa 50 million.
Malaki rin.
Malaki siya if you're looking at it from the investment point, but that's where we catalyze the
And that's
textile
where government
activity.
comes in.
Yes,
This is
that's where
where the
government comes
funding of
in.
government
Should
really...
be.
Yeah, di ba?
Yeah.
Kesa kung saan-saan mga flood control na wala naman.
But we're very proud of that because that was a project that was initiated this year. It was bidded out this year. It was constructed this year and inaugurated this year.
So it's operational?
It is operational. So it already has produced the first set of yarns, and we intend to do it in the next one in Cabacan, North Cotabato, which, by the way, will be launching in March next year. So that will be the 4th. And then the 5th will be in Rizal for the upcycling of yarns. Remember, Rizal is your garments capital. Ang daming retaso.
So yung mga retaso.
Yes. So we try to garnet it and come up with the fibers again and make new yarns again. That will be in Taytay. And hopefully, again, also next year, we'll get one more for Negros Island.
I'm also curious, Dr. Jules, about
Wow,
your
this
initiatives.
is so exciting.
Yes. About upscaling weavers.
Yes.
You have this initiative called Mananahi ng Barangay.
Yes.
Tell us all about
Well,
that.
thank you very much for noting that the mananahi ng barangay is one way of connecting and integrating the value chain. Kasi pag may tela ka, nasusunod. Hindi mo pwedeng isuot yung tela, di ba? You had to get it constructed. But, this is not your run-of-the-mill type of mananahi. We want them to be creatives. We want them to be entrepreneurs. We want them to be updated with the current skills and digital tools that are available in the market. And we want this to be in the barangay. You don't pluck them and put them in the cities.
Para rin they don't go too far away from home.
Yes, from home. Yes.
Malapit sila sa mga anak nila.
Yes, exactly. Because we're working heavily with an industry that's, women-led.
So
you don't
bibili
want-
rin kayo ng machines.
Yes, that will be part of the package. So, iti-train sila. They'll be mentored by designers. They'll be given tools. They'll be given access to financial technologies as well. So, buo yung intervention natin. And this is not just about magtatahi ka. It's about selling a whole new lifestyle. And I don't mean high fashion. This is, the level that Filipinos deserve in the barangay level. So, we're very happy and fortunate. Next year, we'll be implementing that.
I remember, Dr. Jules, that there is a law that exists that mandates that all
Yes.
government employees should be
Must.
wearing.
Philippine tropical fabric, yes.
Correct.
And we are celebrating that in January, so I hope to be back.
Really?
That's Republic
Yeah.
Act
Is it
19.
finally
sure.
gonna happen?
Well, that's a very old law.
Yes, very
But
old.
what's happening now, it's a chicken and egg thing. The
Right.
industry is also not prepared. So we're trying to bridge all of these together. It's a hard work for government as well. Well, at least at my end of government
I'm
work,
sure.
because you have to match the farmer's output, the production output, whoever will wear them, whoever will sew. But, it's a huge
Ganong
market.
kalaki na ba ang production nito?
Yun.
Matutuwa kayo because out of the government requirement, we are already 1% compliant. But that's it's not a long way to go, but it
1%.
cannot 1% compliant. But you're talking about 2 million government employees. But ang sa amin dito is it's not about government doing it. It's about the private sector doing it. It's about government taking the lead
Yeah.
and showing
So
that
they
there's
want-
money
showing,
here.
yes.
The opportunity
yes.
to create textiles again could be a national
It
industry
is.
again.
It is. Actually, that's part of my capstone at the DAP
Yeah.
because we have to revive it. It's still
Yeah.
part of your basic needs.
We lost that.
We lost that
its-
opportunity.
yeah.
We have not imagined the Filipinos to be roaming around naked. So for as long as we'll be wearing clothes, textiles will be relevant, right? It will be. And there's a surge of nationalism.
Yeah.
Suddenly
Yes.
people are buying, hand-woven products.
So who's making that? Who's
This
making that?
one's-
Yung bulto-bulto.
Ito, in Manila. We have at least 2 weavers in Manila who are producing it in large scale, well, at least in huge
Pero
scales.
do we have enough pinya, banana,
Very good
etc.?
question that because we're trying to match them. Ayaw natin mag-overproduce ng fiber and then walang bibili. Ayaw mo rin naman ng walang fiber at walang mabili. So it's really a
balancing
tuning
act.
thing. It's a balancing act. Very tough and very, that's really where government comes in.
But is there a specific variety of pineapple that...
We are working with the queen pineapple. That's the one planted in Bukidnon. Kasi after getting the fruit, anong gagawin mo dun sa halaman, di ba? So that's exactly what we're working on. Iba yung aklad pinya, the one they make for barongs.
Or iba rin yung sa Tagaytay?
Well, Tagaytay is similar to the Bukidnon variety. Queen pineapple, Formosa, very similar. Industrial pineapple. And then banana, kahit anong saging pwede.
Talaga?
Yes.
Kahit
Like
Saba,
Cavendish,
lakatan.
Saba, Lakatan. Well, you are not getting it from the peels, by the way. You're getting it from the trunk. Because the banana, once it bears fruit, it will never bear fruit again.
Yeah, once a year.
No, not
Mabuti
once a
pa
year.
ang
Once lang in its
DOST.
lifetime.
Lagyan ng maraming budget.
Tama yan. But it's a nice times for the institute. I've been there for more than 20 years. But
Really?
yes, I've been there for 23 years. So I started there when I was 2. You're so. Yeah, but the good thing is we have been receiving funds. And in government, the expression of policy is funding.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just lip service, right? So if the president says we will support Telang Pinoy, true enough. It translated to the budget. So we are trying to maximize every single peso because, all of these touches lives directly. And we see women. We just closed the Philippine Textile Congress for the year today.
Right.
And we saw women, we saw men even who are into the weaving sector, and you see them brighten up because of whatever is happening with the industry. Very incremental, but then there's a lot of work to do, and we're very happy that
And it's
we're
not
there.
often that government puts a smile on people's faces.
Yeah.
So that's good. to hear.
Yes.
I was looking at you a while
Congratulations
ago.
on what you do.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
have you again for your sustainability.
Yes, more on
Yes.
sustainability very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time and giving us joy.
Yes.
Julius Leaño Jr., Director of the DOST Philippine Textile Research Institute.